Hi everyone, it's Lara here from LK Yoga, and today I'm going to take you through a 45-minute beginner's class. All you will need is your yoga mat and then perhaps a block, maybe even 2 blocks, or just something you can use to give you a bit of assistance in some poses, give you a little bit of extra length and space, something to put your hands on. If you don't have this, that's fine. You can do the class without it. I will give you other options too. So we're going to start class in a seated position. If it's uncomfortable to sit in a simple cross-legged pose, you can either try taking a block or something underneath you just to raise you slightly, or you can come to kneeling instead. So just going to take a moment here. I'm going to try and rock gently left and right, just so we bring some awareness to our pelvis. I'm going to try and bring our weight neutral through either side of the hips. I'm going to rock gently forward and gently back as well, and try and find the middle ground there too. I'm going to take a nice deep inhale, and we're going to grow tall through the spine, drawing the shoulders up, back and down, and then exhale, just draw them down the back. And take the hands to rest on the tops of the knees, palms facing up. And then as a last little thing, we're going to start to very gently tuck the chin in ever so slightly, just to get the full length through the back of the neck. I'm just going to take a few moments here just to sort of come into our breath. As best as we can, just sort of leave whatever our day part we're in, whether it's the morning or the evening, just leave it all behind you. Just taking a few moments to breathe nice and deeply here. So if you can, on the inhale, let the lungs expand. And on the exhale, just let the belly button draw in towards the midline, letting everything relax ever so slightly. So on our inhales, we look for length, we grow tall, we let the lungs fill, the ribcage expand. And on the exhale, we let everything sink down. And then from here, we're going to take the arms up overhead and reach up as high as we can. Try and keep the shoulders still engaged. So the shoulders are drawn down slightly, but the fingers reach up. Nice deep inhale here. And then exhale, just let the shoulders draw down. So just relaxing any tension around the shoulders, any tension in the jaw, anywhere like that. And then from here, we're going to take the right arm down towards the mat and extend the left arm up overhead, coming into a gentle side bend. I'm just going to take the block out from underneath me so you get sort of a different perspective on this. So each inhale, I'm going to try and grow a little bit longer, and then on the exhale, I'm going to try and sink the elbow down. So just to spend a few moments here, we want to try and keep the left side of the sit bones, the left side of the hips rooted down as best you can here. You can either gaze up towards the top hand if that feels good, or down towards the bottom hand, either is fine. And then slowly coming back towards centre and over to the other side. Left hand comes down, right arm up and over. So I'm going to really reach out over the top here. I'm going to feel like the chest is almost sort of spiralling forwards, lifting through towards the ceiling as you sort of twist and bend over. Breathing nice and deeply here. And then slowly coming back towards centre, we'll just take both hands up overhead. And then from here, taking the left hand to the outside of the right knee. Right hand comes behind, coming into a gentle twist. So we're going to grow tall. Nice deep inhale, and then exhaling, twisting and gazing over the right shoulder. Remember, you can still be in kneeling here or be supported on a block as well. And then coming back through to centre, right hand comes to the outside of the left knee, left hand comes behind, inhaling, growing tall, and then exhaling, finding the twist the other way. We want to keep the chest nice and proud and lifted. We're trying to keep the neck in line with the spine here, so try not to gaze even further over the shoulder, just keep the sort of side of the neck nice and relaxed, and just let it twist, let the shoulders and the chest guide your twist. And then coming back through centre one more time, come to tabletop now. So take the hands down to the mat and the knees underneath the hips. So hands stacked underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. If you get a little bit of pain sometimes in the wrist, you can always walk the hands forward, that's fine, just decreases the angle between the hand and the wrist. On the inhale, I'm going to roll up through the spine, rounding through the back. And then on the exhale, rippling through. So these are our cat-cow positions here. Just trying to get the spine nice and warm, just mobilising in your own time, no rush here. Breathing nice and deeply, trying to move with the breath. Get a bit of a ripple going, just be aware of where you're starting the movement to. So if you tend to start at the top of the spine, then maybe just try and vary it slightly, and this time start the motion up from around the tailbone. If anywhere feels a little bit tighter than the rest of the spine, moving a little bit more clunkily, just slow down and try and really focus in on that bit. Lovely, well done. Then from here we come back to a neutral position, so make sure the fingers are spread nice and wide, we've got the knees underneath us. From here we're going to lift the left arm and potentially the right leg. If the left arm is enough, that's fine. If not, try and lift the right leg as well. Try and keep the torso nice and neutral, so we want the hips to be the same level as best we can. And reach out nice and long, and then drawing in and rounding. Nice deep inhale as you reach out. And then exhaling, rounding one more time. And then just reaching out again. Lovely, well done. Setting that down. Don't worry, whether you can do it with just the arm. So extending the right arm. And then if you can, drawing the left leg in as well. Reaching out and then rounding in, squeezing tight. And then extending. Squeezing in tight one more time. And extending. Final time, if you can, knee into the elbow, squeeze. And extend. Coming back to center here. And from here, we're just going to tuck the toes underneath us. We're going to lift the hips towards a downward facing dog. We're going to keep the knees really bent for now. So if anything, I encourage you to bend the knees further than you think you would normally. I'm going to lift the hips up as high as you can. I'm going to try and focus on getting the back as straight as we can. So I'm going to spread the fingers into the mat, bend the elbows slightly. I want the ears to roughly be in line with the arms. We're going to gaze sort of towards our toes. And then we're going to pedal through the feet. So we're going to take one heel down and the other. Just get a bit of movement going through the back of the legs. Lovely, great work, everyone. Don't worry if this feels really stiff, it will loosen up through class a little bit. And over time, as your practice develops. And then from here, we'll slowly walk the feet in towards the hands, coming to the top of the mat. You're going to take a really bent-legged ragdoll. Doesn't look very pretty, but it's very functional. Taking the hands to opposite elbows, let the head hang heavy and just gently rock left and right here. Trying to let the shoulders come down towards the mat. And the hips lift up high behind you. Letting the muscles in the face relax, just letting go of any tension in the body you find. Coming back to your deep inhales and exhales. Then from here, taking the hands down towards the toes. On the inhale, rolling up through the spine. Stacking the shoulders, circling the arms over wide, lifting the chest, hands face in here. Really reach the fingers up. And then exhaling, folding all the way back down. So doing another little half salutation here. On the inhale, finding a halfway lift, straightening out through the back. And then exhaling, folding in again. So we can either take the hands on our forward fold, bring left foot up behind to a block. So you take the hands to a block. You can always take the hands just to rest around the back of the calves if that feels better. Or if you can reach down to the floor. But it's absolutely fine to take the hands on the block here. So we're in our forward fold, breathing nice and deeply. And then on the next inhale, to roll up through the spine one more time. Draw the shoulders back, inhale, lift the chest. Hands come through prayer, and exhaling, folding back down. So just getting a little bit warmer here. On the inhale, finding a halfway lift, so just pressing the hands either into the upper legs or the lower legs, trying to avoid the knee. Drawing the belly button in ever so slightly, finding length in the upper body. And then exhaling, folding back down. On the inhale, rolling up through the spine, stacking the shoulders, circling the arms nice and wide. This time, hands face up. We'll take the left arm down the side, extend the right arm up and over, coming into a little side bend. Just head stand this way so you can see. If you want, you can take the left hand around the right wrist and just gently draw yourself a little bit deeper as well. That's fine too. So whatever works for you here. And then taking both hands back overhead, coming to the other side. Right arm comes down the side of the body, the left arm comes up and over. Option again, just to hold onto the left wrist and draw yourself a little deeper here. And then taking both hands back overhead, inhaling, folding forward. Then move out the block out the way this time and take the hands towards the feet, and I'm going to step back to a plank position. Don't worry, we're not here for long. Fingers nice and spread, pressing the heels away, then gently drawing the knees down, lowering the chest all the way to the floor. We're going to come into our first cobra now. So we're going to take the hands in line with the shoulders, and then on the inhale we're going to lift from the muscles in the back and the chest. And we're just going to lift gently our torso off the ground. We're not going to get much height at all. We're really going to try and pull the rib cage through towards the front of the room. Then we're going to exhale and fold back down. I'm going to gently rock the hips left and right here. Breathing nice and deeply, just resetting. I'm going to lift like that one more time. So on the inhale, we're going to lift the chest, draw the shoulders back, lift up if you can. Maybe a bit higher this time. Nice deep breath while you're here. And then exhaling, folding all the way back down. Then we're going to take the hands a little bit further back so it's in line with the bottom of our rib cage now. Let's to press this into child's pose. So you can have the knees together or apart in child's pose, just taking the arms out in front of you. Spending a moment here just to reconnect with the breath. If the knees are wide, just let the belly fall between the legs. Just trying to make the most of each inhale and exhale if you can. And if at any point in class you want a little rest, you can always come back to child's pose, whether you're in one of these classes on LK Yoga online or whether it's in a class with another teacher that always understands. You must make the practice your own. And from here we're going to press into the hands and tuck the toes, coming back to our downward facing dog. So again, remember we're keeping a really deep bend in the knees for now. We're trying to lift the hips high, that's our main priority. Don't worry about straightening the legs or getting the heels down for now. On the inhale, we're going to lift the left leg up towards the ceiling, press the heel up nice and high, and step. Don't worry if it takes a couple of steps, but to the top of the mat. So left foot is at the top of the mat. I'm going to draw the right knee down and tuck the toes on the back foot. And then from here, we're going to take the arms up overhead, and drawing the shoulders down the back, coming into our Crescent Moon lunge in a low variation. We've got the knee to modify Crescent Moon lunge. And try and keep the chest nice and lifted here. Taking the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, squeezing the shoulders together. Breathing nice and deeply. Trying to make sure the toes on the front foot are relaxed and sinking into the hips as best you can. Breathing nice and deeply, finding each exhale and trying to sink a little bit lower. So we're also opening up through the shoulders and the chest at the same time here. Then taking the hands up overhead, drawing them into a prayer shape. And then coming into a twist. So we're going to twist across the body towards the knee. The right elbow comes to the outside of the left knee. Finding a twist, gazing over the left shoulder. So we want to try and sink into the hips still. We're keeping the torso feeling nice and long and straight. And we're going to imagine the chest is twisting through over towards the left. And all the way back round almost. So if you can imagine it's twisting through and back towards your toes. Nice deep breaths here. If the prayer position is uncomfortable, you can take a fist and then hold around the hand. Lovely, well done. And from here, taking the hands back overhead, last breath in the lunge. I'm going to take the hands to frame the foot. So you can do this with one block or two if you have two blocks. I'm going to draw the front leg straight, coming into like a little half split position. If you only have one block, we're going to take that to the inside of the left leg, so it's in line with the right. I'm just going to rest our hands here. I'm going to try and draw the left hip back, so the right and the left hip nice and equal. I'm going to keep the chest facing forward. I'm going to draw the toes towards the ceiling, so we feel just a gentle stretch down the back of the left leg. We don't need to do anything too extreme here to make it a little bit of difference. So just breathing deeply, keeping the chest lifted. And then rolling over onto the toes, moving any blocks out the way. Taking the arms up overhead, nice deep inhale. And then exhaling, taking the hands to frame the front foot. We're going to step back to plank again. Lower the knees down, chest comes all the way to the floor. Hands in line with the shoulders, inhaling, gently lifting to the cobra. The chest lifts up and faces through. And then exhaling, folding back down. And just briefly coming back to our child's pose again. So just sink into child's pose. And take the hands over towards the left side of the mat. So the right hand's going to come on top of the left. I'm going to stretch all the way down the right hand side of the body. If your breathing's got a little bit faster, a little bit shallow, we're just going to work on that now. So as you inhale, you want to feel the back of the body expand. As you exhale, just trying to sink over the hips. Just releasing any tension all down the right side of the body. Moving back through centre and over to the other side. So this time the left hand comes to sit on top of the right hand. We're just stretching out down the left side of the body instead. Great work, everyone. And then coming back towards centre, I'm going to plant the hands out again. Press into the hands, press your weight forward, tuck the toes and lift the hips to downward facing dog. So as you get a bit warmer, you might be able to straighten the legs slightly, but we always just focus on keeping the back as straight as we can, and then over time we let the legs straighten. So that's our number one priority. I don't mind if your knees are bent like this, as long as you're trying to lift the hips up at the same time. That's much better than trying to force the toes down and sort of rounding through the back. So we're going to keep the back as flat as we can here. On the inhale this time, I'm going to lift the right leg, taking the heel up towards the ceiling, and then stepping to the top of the mat, drawing the left knee down. So we'll take the arms up overhead, find a lunge on the other side. So just the same sequence as before, we're going to try and sink into the hips first of all. If your arms get tired overhead, feel free to take them to rest on the front knee. That's fine as well. I'm just going to turn around so you can see me twist this way. And we're staying in the low lunge. Great work, team. Shoulders drawn down, chest nice and lifted. Hands come to prayer, twisting towards the right. So the left elbow just hooks around the outside of the right knee. I'm going to twist and gaze over the right shoulder. Breathing nice and deeply here. So with each exhale, just trying to sink and relax through the hips. So you might feel that it's quite tight and almost pinching on this right top hip. So you just want to exhale and release that. If you ever get any sort of sharp pains, we want to back off slightly and maybe just come a little bit higher in our twist, but as long as it's just a sort of sensation of tightness that isn't accompanied by sharp pain, then we should be okay just to try and stretch and release. If you ever have any questions, just pop me a message or speak to a yoga teacher. Then from here, we're going to come back into our lunge, taking the arms up overhead, and then hands frame the front foot, and we're going to gently straighten through the right leg. So again, remember you can use your block, mine's got walkies, and just place it on the inside of the right leg so it's in line with the left knee. Lift the chest, draw it through, and try and sink the right hip back here. Really great work, breathing nice and deeply. You should be able to hear the breath. And then from here, just taking the block out of the way, rolling onto the toes of the front foot again. I'm going to take both hands to frame the front foot, step it back, and I'm going to draw the knees down and come to a lie all the way on the mat again. So just going to let the hands come either side of us, and we're going to have the arms bent to 90 degrees. So the elbows are roughly in line with the shoulders and the hands are just above the elbows. So from here, we're just going to give the hips a little bit of a rock, make sure they're nice and loose. I'm going to take a little shoulder stretch, so you might want to watch me with this first, just so you understand. What I'm going to do is take my left cheek to the mat. So I'm looking towards my right hand. My left cheek is down, I'm looking towards the right. Then I'm going to take the right leg up and over. So this is the opposite leg. So draw the right leg up and over. This right arm might start to extend. You should feel a stretch through the top of the left chest, through the shoulder, and you might get a little clunk if you're lucky in the lower back, get a little bit of release going on there. So if you can, you're going to take the right toes to the ground behind you. Don't worry if they don't come, if they're just in the air, that's fine. Just come as far as feels good. You even press into the right hand slightly here, that's the straight extended arm, and just get a little bit deeper if that feels good. Try to stay with that breath. And then coming back towards centre, this time I'm going to bend the right arm. So the right ear comes down and the left leg comes up and over. So again, oh, lots of clips in my back. And extend the left arm out towards the side and see how deep we can get here as well. Just breathing nice and deeply. You can have a play with the position of the bent arm, the right arm here if you want as well. Try straightening it a bit. Just come back to centre before you change the arm. You don't want to move it in this position. You want to deload first, so roll back to the centre, and then move the arm if you feel that that works better for you. Great work, everyone. And then rolling back in. And take the hands underneath the shoulders. We inhale and lift into a cobra. Then as we exhale, we're going to press our way back into child's pose. Just a brief one this time. And then to downward facing dog. So lifting the hips up high, great work. I'm going to turn around because it's a little bit weird facing this way. These little weird OCD things, hey. So we're going to draw the heels as close as we can down, still keeping a slight bend in the knees, but we are getting a little bit warmer. So do feel free to try and push for slightly straighter legs. And then we're going to walk the feet in towards the hands and find another forward fold. So again, option to take a block here. And if we do, we can take a slight inhale first, straighten out ever so slightly through the back, and then exhale, fold forward. So you've got the hands on any height of the block, what works for you. You can take them all the way to the floor, or perhaps around the backs of the legs. Yogi's choice, whatever works for you. Again, we're going to have a slight bend in the knees. We're going to try and lift the hips up. That's our priority, is just thinking about lifting the hips and just letting the chest sink down. Just another breath or so here. Keep the muscles in the face nice and relaxed if you can too. Breathing deep. We've got a little challenging pose coming up. I know you can all give it a go. So we're going to move the block out the way. On the inhale, we're going to roll up through the spine. Stack the shoulders. Take the arms up overhead. So they point up nice and high. Now from here, we're going to take the feet to about hips width. You can bring them closer in, which is how this pose is traditionally taught. But I feel most people, particularly at first, find it a little bit comfortable if the feet just slightly wider around your hips, distance apart. From here, we're going to draw the belly button in towards the spine. I'm going to sink the bum down into chair. So we're going to draw the hips back and start to sink. So we don't move from the knees, we move from the hips, and then we let the bum sink down. I'm going to keep the chest lifted forward and the shoulders drawn back. So I'm going to breathe deeply here. Slightly challenging pose, just another breath or so. Great work. And then coming back up to centre, drawing the hands into prayer. Lovely, well done. Just give your shoulders a bit of a shake. From here, taking the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers and squeezing the shoulders, lifting the chest. Lovely, well done. Only one more chair sequence here, so we're going to take the arms up overhead. Nice deep inhale, we're going to press the hips back to come into our chair, keeping the core engaged. Keep the chest lifted, sink as low as you can. Breathing deep, try and gaze forward. And then standing back up, drawing the hands into prayer. And then giving them a shake. This time we're going to take the other hand on top as we interlace behind us. So whatever feels weird, if you interlace the hands and then switch them over, it's probably that way round. Squeezing the shoulders, lifting the chest. Nice deep breath. And then taking the hands back overhead. Drawing them into prayer, exhaling, folding all the way forward. On the inhale, finding a halfway lift. And this time we're going to step back to find our lunge. So just step the left foot back and draw the knee down. So coming back into Crescent Moon lunge. Taking the arms overhead. If you'd like to briefly have a go at the full pose, feel free to do so. So I'm going to tuck the toes on the back foot. I'm going to press the heel away on that back leg. I'm going to keep the shoulders drawn down the back. And so we're going to feel nice and strong through the legs. So you've got the whole foot firming into the ground. We're trying not to curl the toes on the front foot. We're pressing the heel away on the back foot. Trying to keep the hips facing forward here. I'm going to gently draw the left knee back down in control. Untuck the toes again, and from here come into a little twist. So we keep the hips facing forward as best we can. I'm going to draw the right arm behind us and the left arm comes out in front. I'm going to try and gaze towards the right hand here. If you're feeling really confident, feel free to lift the back leg again, coming into the full pose. But if not, just staying in this modified twist. Circling the right arm back round and both overhead. And then from here, taking the hands to frame the feet. And step briefly back into a downward facing dog. And I'm going to walk the toes in really slowly. I'm taking micro little steps all the way to the top of the mat. Great work. Coming into a brief forward fold. Don't worry about any blocks. Just let the hands, let the arms hang There we go, a bit of a tongue twister there. And then taking them back down, inhaling, finding the halfway lift. Exhaling, folding forward. On the inhale, rolling up through the spine, stacking the shoulders, circling the arms nice and wide. Drawing the hands into prayer, exhaling, folding forward again. So this time I'm going to draw the right leg back. So I'm going to take the right toes back and draw the right knee down. So same little sequence, other side. I'm going to take the arms up towards the ceiling. Lovely, well done. So again, we're just going to try the high lunge, the full crescent moon lunge. I'm going to tuck the toes on the back foot and then straighten the lift. So we're going to press the back heel away. So this back leg feels nice and strong. It's as straight as we can make it. A slight bend in the knee. That's where the strength and the energy from the pose is coming from. Then from here, we're just going to stay just a little bit longer. Sink into the legs if you can. And then gently draw the back knee down. And tucking the toes on the back foot. And finding our little twist. So the left hand comes behind us, right hand comes forward. And we're still trying to keep the hips facing towards the front of the room, creating our twist. You can gaze towards the back hand if that feels comfortable for you. Breathing nice and deeply. Last little bit of work, well done. And then circling the left arm back overhead, sinking into the hips. Hands free in the front foot. And coming back to our downward facing dog. Lovely, well done. Just a little breath here, great work. Pushing the hips high. Exhaling, trying to sink the chest down slightly. One more breath. And drawing the knees down, coming to a kneeling position. If you find kneeling, oh, that's my ankle. If you find kneeling isn't too comfortable for you, then what we can do is take a block and sit on the block. So that just takes the weight out of the feet, but it still gets a bit of a stretch across the top of the legs. So we're just going to check in with our posture again. So I want to make sure the hips are nice and even. We're going to grow tall through the spine, roll the shoulders up, back and down, and then just ever so slightly tuck the chin in towards the chest, and just have that slight pull in with the belly button here to engage the core. A nice comfortable kneeling position here. Remember, you only need to use the block if it feels uncomfortable to sit on the tops of the feet. From here, we're going to come into our camel pose. So we're going to tuck the toes, standing on our knees as it were. We're going to take the hands towards the lower back. We're going to start to try and draw the elbows towards each other. I'm going to use this elbow of drawing the elbows towards each other. We start to press the hips slightly forward, and then imagine a big lifting sensation from the bottom of the ribcage up towards the ceiling. So we're just lifting the chest and squeezing the elbows in behind us. That's how we're going to find a nice comfortable back bend here. You only need to come as far as feels good for you. I generally tend to stay gazing forward, particularly until you've got to deeper versions of the pose before letting the head fall back too much. So keep everything nice and supported. And then we engage the belly button, draw it in just to come back up towards centre. Then we come back to kneeling, just briefly. Nice deep breath here. I'm going to take the right hand to the outside of the left knee. Left hand comes behind. On the inhale, I'm going to grow tall. And on the exhale, I'm going to find a twist and gaze over the left shoulder. Just breathing deeply here. Giving the spine a little reset. And coming over to the other side, so the left hand comes to the outside of the right knee, right hand comes behind. Inhaling, growing tall, and exhaling, twisting and gazing over the right shoulder. And then coming back through to centre, just do one more camel today. I'm going to tuck the toes again. If it feels uncomfortable to take the hands to the lower back, you can just interlace the hands quite loosely and just draw them down, draw the shoulders down instead, and that will start to bring you on the journey of the back bend. So to take the hands to the lower back again, draw the elbows in towards centre, and gently press the hips forward and lift the chest up towards the ceiling. Nice deep breaths here. If you are feeling brave, you can take the hands down towards the heels. But if this is your first go at yoga, I'd say just keep the hands on the bum for now. And keep the bum fairly relaxed. There's a little bit of engagement there, but not too much. Nothing crazy. And then drawing back up towards centre. And from here, coming to a brief little child's pose. So take the hands out in front of us. Draw the forehead down to rest on the mat. Maybe just rubbing the forehead gently left and right. Just releasing any tension around the neck. from here, walking the hands back in ever so slightly. I'm just going to briefly press the downward facing dog, lifting the hips high. Then we step the left foot to the top of the mat, so we'll lift it high and step it to the top of the mat. So you're going to come into sort of brief crescent moon lunge shape. We're not going to do a full flow this time. I take the right hand to the inside of the left foot, coming into a little twist. Again, remember you can take a block underneath the hand, that helps you. And then lift the left arm up towards the ceiling, finding a little twist. So really trying to open up through the chest, draw it towards the ceiling. And then take the block out of the way and come as deep as I can. Nice deep breath here. Should feel pretty good, hopefully not too strenuous. Although if you are quite tight through the hips and the shoulders, it may still feel like a little bit of work. Don't worry, with regular yoga practice, this will all become loads easier. I'm going to take the left hand back down and I come into our lizard pose. So we're going to walk the left foot over towards the side of the mat. If you'd like it to turn out slightly, that's okay, or you can keep it facing forward. I turn mine out ever so slightly. And when you come to rest on the hands and just draw the hips forward. If this is enough, then that's absolutely fine. It might even be slightly too intense, in which case just rest the hands on a block or whatever you've got handy. If you want to get a little bit deeper, we can try coming down onto the elbows on the block or all the way down to the floor if that feels good for you. So still trying to keep the back relatively straight and let the chest draw forward here. Nice deep breaths. We've got no more hard work now. Just a few more poses to go. Great work sticking with it. A really good one for getting that a little bit deeper into the hips and help us with our sort of deep squatting positions. Just open up and correct after spending a lot of time seated. I'm going to come back to the hands and come over to the other side. So we're just going to take both hands back to centre, walk the foot in slightly, and then press back to downward facing dog. Lovely, well done. Lift the hips high, sink back. And then inhaling, lifting the right leg towards the ceiling, and stepping the right foot through to the top of the mat. And draw the left knee down. So we can be into that brief crescent moon lunge shape. If you want to take the arms up over your head, that's okay. And then the left hand comes to the inside of the right foot, and we're going to twist and gaze up towards the ceiling again, like we did last time. So breathing nice and deeply, opening through the chest. Great work. Great work, everyone. Just one more breath here. Remember, you can take the left hand to a block. And then twisting back towards centre, we'll walk the right foot all the way out and come into our lizard. So remember, hands can come straight to the mat, they can come onto a block, or if you want, you can come a little bit deeper. And just rest the forearms on the block, or even all the way onto the mat. Foot turns slightly out if that feels comfortable for you. And we're just sinking the hips down here. And then slowly coming out of whatever pose you've chosen here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our hands to the centre of the mat, draw the right foot in slightly, then press both feet back, lift briefly into downward facing dog just to stretch out through both sides, just seeing how the legs feel now, the rest of the body compared to the started class. Nice deep inhale, exhale, lift the hips high, and then drawing the knees back down. Then draw the legs underneath us. We can come to lie on our back. So any way that feels comfortable for you. Just coming to lie on your backs and do just a couple of bridges now. So if you've got your hair up, just make sure it's out of the way. So you can rest the head flat on the ground here and let the shoulders be broad and try and keep the hips nice and level. Just have a nice deep breath, settle in there. Try and relax through any tension in the core, in the lower back, in the feet. Just let it all go. And from here, we're going to take a couple of rounds of bridge. So we want to be quite active on our feet. Yoga is a great time to try and work on the strengthening your feet as well. So we're going to spread the feet and try and lift the inner arches. And then from here, we're just going to imagine there's a little squeezy ball in between our legs. So just going to have to imagine. I'm afraid I haven't got one. So I've got a little ball between my knees and I'm just gently squeezing in on that. So I'm not going to let my knees collapse in.
I'm just going to imagine it's there. That's going to help me engage through my legs as I lift. Just an imaginary ball. Don't let the knees come in. They can't because the ball's in the way. You are holding on to that imaginary ball. The arms are down the sides of the body. Then from here, we're going to start to lift the hips. We're going to start the motion by lifting up through the hips, rolling up through the spine. And then as we start to get a little bit higher, we're going to tuck our shoulders underneath us if available, and perhaps interlace the hands underneath you. Just come as deep as feels good, so if you can still only keep the hands to the side, that's fine. We are going to try and tuck the shoulders underneath us and get the hands underneath you as well. I'm going to really press the chest forward, so it's a bit like our camel pose. Press the hips forward, spread the weight through the feet, but keep the inner arches lifted and squeeze the glutes up nice and high. So everything is quite active. So trying to open up, it's almost like a little back bend. Breathing deep, just a couple more breaths, getting the posterior chain firing. So you feel it in the hamstrings, the back of the legs too. And then I'm going to release the hands first, untuck the shoulders and just slowly, gently roll all the way down. So I'm not going to do a full release quite yet, we're just going to rock the legs left and right, nice and slowly. Should feel pretty good. And just doing one more. Then press into the heels, spread the hands. And then again, starting at the hips, we're going to start to roll up and lift. Get the shoulders underneath us, interlace the fingers. Lift the chest, lift the hips. Really pressing through the whole of the foot and trying to keep the inner arch lifted. Lovely, well done. You lift any higher for the last breath. Maybe even try and come onto the tiptoes if you're feeling brave. Still breathing nice and deep. And then gently drawing the heels down. Releasing the hands and tucking the shoulders, rolling all the way back down. From here, drawing the knees in towards the chest, just giving them a quick little squeeze, nothing too much, rocking gently left and right. If that feels enough, you can stay here. We can have a go at happy baby. So take the hands to the inside of the knees. And we catch hold of the outsides of the feet or the outsides of the leg, or the top of the legs if you can't reach the feet. And then we draw the heels up towards the ceiling. So this is a great pose. As long as you don't feel too ridiculous, if you're just at home, there's no one watching. We all do it in the studio too, so it feels great. Just releasing, try and keep the shoulders drawn down, nice and relaxed. Don't want them creeping up towards the ears now you've done all this hard work. And then gently letting go. I'm going to take both feet back down to the mat. And then from here, the left foot's going to rest on the back of the right knee. I'm going to take the hands through to catch hold of the back of the hamstring, maybe all the way through to the front of the shin. Generally, I don't recommend this. I think the back of the hamstring is plenty, because we want to keep the shoulders broadened on the mat. And if coming up to the top of the shin means you're rounding, you're not helping the body relax. So we're going to squeeze the leg in. If you can't even reach here, that's fine. Just draw the right leg towards you here. Nice deep breath. Maybe give the ankles a bit of a circle, a bit of a wiggle. That feels good. Get some movement going in there. We generally don't get much ankle rotation going on when we're wearing our everyday shoes, walking on flat surfaces. Need to keep some motion going there. And then switching over sides. So taking the left foot back down, right foot comes to rest on the back of the left knee, hands come through. If you can, interlace the fingers the other way, just like a little bit more different. And yeah, just trying to squeeze the left leg in. Maybe trying to press the right knee away if that feels good. Just creating a little bit of contraction there. Nice deep breathing. Great work, everyone. Letting the muscles relax in the face too. It's nearly the end of class, so well done for hanging on. Anyway, long, slow stretches. What we all came here for, right? And then gently releasing. From here, we're just going to draw the knees in to help us sit up, or sit up in any way that works for you. We come into a little forward fold. So it's going to be our last pose of class. Really, got a couple of twists, but last main pose. So you can either sit with the legs extended out in front of you like so. What I tend to do, particularly if you're quite new to yoga, is just to sit on a block or raise your hips slightly. Just helps you to relax around the backs of the legs and everything, let yourself come a little bit deeper into the fold. You can take your legs slightly wider if that feels more comfortable. Want to grow tall, take the arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to try and keep the chest forward for as long as we can. Take the arms out down the sides of the body. Try to keep the shoulders engaged so we're not sort of out here. Shoulders are engaged. We're just going to fold over the legs. We don't need to come too deep at all. If you do want to round through the back, you really want a nice sort of rounding shape through the back. If that feels more comfortable for you, then feel free to do so. It's a little bit more active if we stay lifting the chest forward, but if you would like, you can come all the way down, rounding through the back. If you feel that that gets a really good stretch around the upper spine kind of region, then that's fine. If you can hold onto the feet, then that's great. You're going to twist the inner elbows to face up. If you can't, just hold onto the legs. Or you can even get a strap like the carry strap that came with your mat, and just wrap it around your feet and hold onto either side of the strap as well. That'll work just as well. You're wrapping a strap, try and have it so it's just across the balls of the toes. Breathing nice and deeply, lifting the chest. And then exhaling, sinking deep just for another minute. Just trying to let the body absorb all the goodness of our practice. Well done for taking the time out today. Making time for you and your body. Just having a little reconnect. Remembering we are human after all. All of our to-dos. And sometimes just take a little moment, take a moment in the waiting list, the waiting room of life. Try to let the mind be nice and clear. And then slowly walking the hands back in, coming back up to straight. And take any blocks out from underneath us. Come to light all the way on our backs. And take the arms up overhead into the legs, and if that feels good, coming into a full body stretch. Nice deep inhale. And then exhale, letting the arms come down the side of the body. Slowly letting go. Final thing to do is just some reclined twists. So we're going to scooch our way over to the left hand side of the mat. And draw the left knee in towards the chest. Right hand comes across the outside of the left knee and just draws it across the body. If you've got space, take the left arm out towards the side here. Maybe gaze over to the left hand if that feels good too. So you should get a really nice twist down the left side of the body here. Just breathing deeply, trying to let it all go, let go of all the tension. And then slowly coming back up to centre. And then over to the other side. Just going to scooch our way over to the right now. And the left leg straight, drawing the right knee in towards the chest. Left hand comes to the outside of the right knee, drawing it across the body. If you have got room, extend the right arm out to the side. I'm going to keep my arm in a nice open bent position. So the hand faces up because I haven't got room. Whatever works for you here. Breathing deeply. Getting the stretch down the right hand side of the body this time. And then coming back towards centre. Moving into Shavasana now. Shavasana, our final rest position now. Just letting the hands face up. Shoulders nice and broad, relaxing the muscles in the face. We're giving the fingers and the toes a little wiggle. Anywhere in the body, a little wiggle. Give all that energy, and then exhale, just let it all sink and relax. Be aware of any tension that might still be in the jaw, muscles of the face, just letting it all go. Letting the tops of the shoulders feel open. Releasing any control of the breath, but at the same time, just stay breathing nice and deeply for the rest of the day. And then from here, just going to roll onto one side, your own time. And just take a moment to rest there. And then slowly pressing your way back up towards seated. Just tucking the legs underneath you. Rocking gently left and right in the sit bones. Inhaling, growing tall, rolling the shoulders up, back and down. Taking the hands into prayer and bowing the head. Namaste.